if there's anybody that, represents new age pickleball, it's Quang Duong, right? Like the guy is just ripping balls any part of the court. No ball is a bad ball to attack if you're him. He's doing crazy stuff, taking, fifths 2 feet from the baseline and driving them 100 miles an hour cross court at the guy's chest. And it's fun to watch. That was sort of the first taste of like, okay, there are no rules in pickleball. And yeah, obviously now he's like just electric. Like can do anything with the ball he wants to.
He's my favorite men's pro player to watch.
Yeah.
I think you just never really know what's coming out of Gabe.
He's my I would say he's my favorite to watch in mixed. Because he is
so chaotic.
Anything. He can do absolutely anything.
If you're like me, you might feel your body is slowing down, not bouncing back like it used to. I learned recently that could be attributed to your mitochondria slowing down. And that's where MitoPure comes in, which is a product by Timeline. It's backed by more than 15 years of dedicated scientific research. MitoPure is clinically proven to help clear out the old, worn-out mitochondria, the energy centers of your body, to give you the reboot you need from the inside out. Timeline is offering 10% off your first order of MitoPure. Go to timeline.com/thedink, all caps DINK, timeline.com/thedink. And you'll get 10% off your first order, and you can, renew that mitochondria, the powerhouse of the cell. That's from a movie. I don't remember what it is, or maybe a show or something like that. Go get yourself some Timeline.
Yeah. All right, guys, welcome to the Pickle Pod. Thomas is at one of his 27 cousins' wedding. He actually does have 27 cousins. I learned that the other day, so he can't be here today. But we have Pickleball's sweetheart, Michael Loyd, here today, off of an incredible run over at the PPA World Championships, beating Miguel Alda, Dave Bacala, Ben Jones, J.W. Johnson, and Quang Duong before falling to Fetty Staksrud. Michael, you've been around pickleball for a decent amount of time, but I feel like this is a lot of people's first real look at you over the last couple of years. How does it feel?
I mean, crazy. I mean, it is funny, like you said. I've been around it for a little bit. I think most of the pros know me now, and the people within kind of the inner pickleball space know me. But yeah, now there's a million random people coming up to me at tournaments asking for an autograph for me to take a picture, and it's kind of surreal, but it's just super fun trying to enjoy it right now.
Yeah, for sure. So Miguel Alda, that's a good win. Dave Bacala, I actually knew from back in the day from tennis, but those are matchups that you're probably expecting to win. Going into playing against Ben Johns, are you like expecting to win actually?
So it's funny because I think I told myself going into it, like, okay, funny enough, I played Ben in Colorado about like a year ago, and I had game points on him. And that was the first time in pickleball where I was like, okay, like I could actually do something. So I definitely did have the belief going into it, but it was so funny because that morning I talked to like 4 or 5 different people, whether it was like a pro or just somebody else asking me like, oh, who do you play today? And it's like, oh, I'm playing Ben. And it was like, oh, like, good luck. Like, like they would kind of wince as soon as I said it. And I told myself, I was like, before anybody says anything to me, like, I'm just going to like make sure that I'm in the space where I'm blight. I believe it. And so the joke that I just kept saying was like, oh yeah, I'm playing him, but I think he's scared of me. Like, just joking. Like, I have all the respect for him and all that, but I knew that a bunch of people were going to kind of write me off before we even got there. And yeah, I definitely had the belief. It was more so just making sure nobody else took that away from me before I even got on the court,
For sure, yeah. You don't want to show up mentally defeated, especially in singles, right?
Yeah.
I feel like singles is far more prone to somebody getting hot, right? Or somebody getting cold on the other side of it, right? So there are a decent slew of players that can give players very good games. I mean, we had Brandon French taking a game off of Ben a few weeks ago in Vegas. So yeah, I mean, in singles, I feel like the level is actually super even in a way where you can kind of get hot for a certain amount of time. And I think it's probably fair to say you were hot in game 1, 11-3.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, I came out just like buzzing, like serving big, hitting the back of the baseline a couple of times, getting a couple of free points. And once I kind of got up on him early, like I could kind of see, you know, obviously Ben is a guy that you can never ever write off, but you could kind of see like, okay, there's a little bit of momentum going my way. Maybe he's got some poor body language, which anytime as a competitor you can see somebody kind of giving you that, you're like, okay, like I have a chance. And for me, the mentality was like, okay, step on this early, get the first game, you know, sit down and try to gather yourself after that and see if you can kind of step on him in the first two. And so fortunately enough, was able to do that. He definitely had a big surge in the second game. And I think I got the ball back somewhere at like 8-9 or something, got a couple of points in a row to go my way. And then, yeah, had a sick point to finish it. I had, I think I got an inside in forehand, ripped it as hard as I could, and then just sprinted forward. Honestly thought I was going to get an easier ball. He got it like down at my ankles, reset it perfectly cross court in the kitchen. And as soon as I hit it, I was like, okay, like I'm good. Like, you know what I mean? Like you hit the shot, you're moving forward. And I was like, okay, I've got this. And luckily enough was able to finish it off.
Yeah, so the little stab, that was such a difficult shot. Ben hit a really good volley down to your backhand. And when I saw this highlight, I was like, oh man, this is a crazy highlight. And then I realized it was match point and you're dancing around after you won it.
Yeah.
But you stabbed this disgusting get cross court. I feel like Ben's surprised. He hits a dink right up the line. But you finish it with an Ernie cross court angle away from Ben. And he's like, all right, whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I mean, and I, like you said on the clip, I'm dancing afterwards. I'm like so happy. It's unreal. I'm pointing to everybody in the crowd, just yelling 5 million times. And I saw some comment on the PPA where it's like, oh, like show us how you really feel. Like, cause I was just happy. And like, that's the other thing is I told myself a couple of months ago, kind of a mind shift that led to here, I guess, was I think I was trying to be somebody that I wasn't in a certain way. Like there was a couple of months ago where I was trying to be like, okay, even kill all the time, don't get too high, too low, or anything like that. And I realized like that's not really my game. I need to be the guy that shows emotion, has fun. I don't want to get too low or anything like that. But I think me just expressing how I was on court, that's sort of who I am. And when I'm playing my best, I'm getting fired up. I'm enjoying the crowd. I'm not taking myself too seriously. And that definitely was what showed this tournament, you know?
Yeah, I mean, you seem like an expressive dude. I mean, down to like all the tattoos that you have, the piercings, the chains, the accessories, everything. You're somebody, you like to express yourself.
For sure.
So,
yeah, that definitely, I don't know, comes from growing up. I went to a couple of schools that were like super strict where if your hair was at a certain length, you had to cut it. If your stubble was barely showing, they would give you this awful one blade razor and you had to shave it all. And so as soon as I was 18, I told my mom, I was like, I'm going to, get tattoos. I'm going to do whatever and just have fun with it. So, yeah.
Yeah. So that was your own little form of rebellion, huh?
I guess so. Like, not towards my parents or anything, because my parents were always like, yeah, do whatever. Like, we don't care.
Really?
But it was more so just like the schools that I kind of grew up in were very, very strict with the dress code. Everything else was kind of fine, but it was more so that. And I was like, hey, like, I want to actually stick out, just not to like be anything crazy or anything, but just, wear what I like, do what I like, and go from there.
Yeah. You're probably the most tatted up pickleball player other than Tyson, huh?
Yeah, I think it's I might be like DJ. DJ's pretty tatted now. He's got like the big calf tats now, and
yeah.
I think I'm probably top 3 though. I would give myself top 3.
DJ's got the big calf tats, but you have more like kind of all over the place, I feel like.
Yeah, I might have like more individual ones. He has bigger pieces, I think. But yeah, I've got like 30 and counting now.
Oh wow, damn.
So yeah, we're definitely getting up there. And it's funny because I actually didn't have too many until last year. And that was when I first started, so 2023, first started making some money in pickleball. And I told myself, okay, half of the money going to be very smart with. It's going straight into like, savings and investments. And the other half, I was like, go wild, get tattoos. Like literally that's the
other half is tattoo.
Yeah. And the other half just went straight into tattoos. And I think I got like 20 plus in 2023.
Oh, damn.
I've got like 5 or so this year. But yeah, 2023 was where I was like, okay, I'm just going to kind of full send it.
Do you have any pickleball tattoos?
No pickleball tattoos.
No pickleball tattoos?
I almost got a panda.
Really?
So if we would have made Premiere, I promised a I promised the team I was going to get a panda tattoo, and we obviously fell like one match short. We needed to get to semis in Orlando, but very close to getting a pickleball tattoo. Wouldn't be afraid to bring that up with the next team. So whoever wants to draft me, you might get a chance. I don't know.
Damn.
You have one going too with
I
Will,
do have
right?
one.
Yeah.
If the fives win, me, Will, and I think me and Will are the only ones that
There's
signed
no
up for
way
this.
Mario or Ellie are gonna hop onto that.
Or Ryan. I don't have any tattoos.
Yeah.
But I said like if we win, I'll get a fives tattoo somewhere.
Like, what would it be? Would it be a clown, or because a clown is
that's a big move.
that's a big move for your first tattoo?
Yeah, I to be determined, but I will follow through on that. If we win it, I will follow through.
I believe you on that. I feel like Will would back out before. Will's my boy, but I feel like you're more like, I will do whatever.
If I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it.
That's what I'm saying. Not to say that he's not a man of his word, but I know that you'll follow through for the joke if nothing else.
Now, see, I don't know, because Will was like, all right, let's go get our tattoos. I was like, what are you talking about? He's like, we won the mid-season tournament. I was like, I'm not getting a tattoo for winning the mid-season tournament. Like, that's not a thing.
No,
if we win the entire thing, we'll get the tattoo. That's like saying the Lakers were the NBA champions last year.
Yeah, I think that's
when they
totally
won
fair.
when they won the midseason.
Yeah, I think that's fair. It's important, but it's not the mecca.
Yeah, to his credit, he was like, "Let's go do it."
Okay.
I don't know how serious he was about that one. Like, if I was like,
I mean,
hell yeah, let's do it.
I've been there in the tattoo studio where people have backed away with the needle like inches away. So I don't believe anybody until
It happens.
yeah, you know what I mean. And I've watched people walk away mid tattoo. So
Really?
yeah, I've like for pain or whatever else, but I've been there in the shop when somebody else has just backed out, tapped out. To be fair, there's a bunch of terrible spots where if you're going at it for too long, at least some people will come back for. I've done that once where I tapped out in the middle of a back tattoo and was like, we gotta like come back and do it later and finish it up, but finished it.
It's pretty gnarly getting tattoos, huh?
Absolutely, yeah. Depending on the spot, there's some where I've legitimately like fallen asleep, like it didn't matter at all. Like kind of the outside like of your forearm is not that big of a deal. But then there's some where I've got one that's like right here underneath your collarbone. I have another one that, I mean, these kind of come up onto my neck, you see, and this like, it wasn't so much that it hurt, but it was like so uncomfortable, like with the needle like vibrating, and you're like trying not to breathe too hard because you don't want to mess with the tattoo artist's flow and like the whole thing. And that was definitely really, really uncomfortable. And there's been some where my skin is almost like just rejecting the ink because it's in such a painful spot. You know what I mean? But I still keep going back. I don't know. I like them, and I like the kind of conversations that come up from them. It happens all the time where somebody points out a tattoo and then you get talking about it. And yeah, I also just think they're cool.
Interesting. So no pickleball tattoo from this run of yours, or what? No, you're not gonna get the Lalaplasty PPA
I mean,
World Championships
in my defense,
logo?
I am from Dallas, so I have a Dallas tattoo already.
Oh, is it the skyline?
Yeah, and then I have a Texas tattoo. So I just said, somebody asked me about that, and I was like, I already got the tattoo before I came or something, just joked about that. But nah, I feel like you got to win it in order to get a tattoo for something.
I feel like that's fair. All right, so back to pickleball.
Yeah.
You beat Ben, and then I feel like it's very natural in a regular draw, a draw where you're playing throughout one single day, to really have that sort of letdown match afterwards. I've seen it time and time again. Somebody has a big upset, and then they fall flat in the very next game an hour later or whatever. But the nice part is you had an entire day then to go focus on playing your next match, which ended up against JW Johnson. You weren't in any other events after beating Ben, correct?
Correct. Yeah, I lost mixed the first day. I lost to you in men's the second day, and so Ben was the third day, and then I was just focusing on singles after that.
Yeah. So what is what are you doing after you beat Ben? I'm sure there's like a huge amount of text messages. I know I shot you a text message.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sure there's tons of social media stuff. Are you checking all this stuff? Are you like really like loving that, or are you trying to stay focused and keep it out of your mind? Like, what are you doing?
I mean, I honestly think I'm a guy that doesn't get too distracted by that stuff. I feel like I can separate it, but I was just feeling so much like love and support from everybody that I wanted to I replied to literally everybody that night. I think the Ben, I had like 130 unanswered text messages and like 70 DMs on Instagram from a million different people, and I tried to reply to like everyone because I was like, I just appreciated it so much. Everybody reaching out to me, everybody just that excited for me, and I don't know, my girlfriend was like, hey, you don't have to like respond to everybody. Not like I felt like I needed to, but I was just like, I don't know, I just feel super grateful for everybody that's kind of hopping on and being a part of this, and I just wanted to say thanks to everybody and kind of feel the love, and that's kind of what I did. I was super focused still on the next day ahead. Yeah, with J-Dub, I went and watched the end of his match with Dylan, so I caught the third game there. I had beaten J-Dub earlier in the year in like a backdraw match, so I was already familiar with his game. I'm somebody where I like to watch film, but I don't want to overwhelm myself. And with that particular match and with the match with Ben, I really only watched like a game of whoever they played the round before and just relied on kind of, my knowledge of the scouting report from the last time that I played them, and was like, that's kind of all I want. I don't want too much in my head, especially going from Ben to J-Dub. There's a lot of similarities in their singles game.
A very similar game.
So I didn't want to overcomplicate it. Somebody, I think it was Cam in the interview, was like, hey, like, what's going to change? And I was like, absolutely nothing. Like, I just want to play my exact same game, serve big, go for the same shots. And luckily it worked out on that one as well.
Yeah, definitely. And not to mention, you followed up probably, honestly, of these three, I think it's hard to say that Ben isn't the biggest win.
Yeah.
But I am actually most surprised by the Quang win.
Yeah.
Right? Because Ben is somebody that if you catch him on the wrong day, he has a lot of up and down in his level. He's susceptible to random upsets, right?
Yeah.
Quang isn't. And Quang doesn't really have these huge ups and downs.
Which is really funny because you would think it would be the opposite, right?
Right.
Like, since Ben plays such a consistent game and Quang is like 110% full throttle all the time. So credit to him, because that's absolutely right. Like, I feel like he just brings the exact same level, the exact same energy all the time. I think that was also the bigger upset on paper, knowing how our last match had just gone. I played him in the Vegas semis and I lost 2-2, and I didn't even feel like I played that bad. I felt like he just came and like stepped on my throat. Like, I never even really got a chance to breathe or even get started in that match. He was serving big, hitting ridiculous like combo passing shots where like I felt like I was doing an okay job on the first volley, and he's still like coming in, threading the needle. So yeah, that was a big win for me. That one was absolutely different from the J-Dub and Ben stuff. I went and watched a couple of different matches. I was like, okay, I don't have a good feel for what's going on, and I haven't really in any of our matchups prior to that. So I went like watched like 4 or 5 different matches.
Oh, damn.
Tried to only watch matches where he had lost, because I wanted to see like, okay, what were the patterns that weren't working for him, trying to get him into those patterns. Where was he susceptible on like some return errors and different things like that. So yeah, I went like really hard on that and put together what I thought was like a pretty good game plan in terms of like my serving strategy and my thirds. And I mean, basically what I came away with was like, okay, I need to like out Quang, like that was the best way for me to do it. I'd seen other people, obviously like Ben or Stacksrud, beat him in different ways. But that's not necessarily, my first game plan at least. And so, yeah, that's kind of what I went for. Felt really good with the way that I moved up on my thirds in that match, especially. Like, I think I was hitting like good quality thirds, but where I was having a lot of success was like comboing it by taking tough transition volleys, making him hit really hard spots. Like, even if he was going to hit a winner on me, I'm going to make you like knife it down, hit a crazy angle, things that I don't think he's as comfortable doing with his grip. Like, obviously he takes bigger swings at the ball, and
grip,
he wants to hit like through on the volleys, and I wanted to like charge forward and make him have to hit around me.
And make him try and dip those a little bit more
rather
than go through the court.
For sure. And it worked out. He made it really tough in the second game. I felt like I played really high level the first game. I think it was like 11-7. I was ripping passes like on my back foot in multiple directions. And the second game, it was a lot tougher. He served bigger. I had a couple of return errors because of that. But I felt like even with the return errors, I was still up in the plus minus in terms of the serving. I had him missing thirds because of my returns, and I had him missing returns himself because of my serves, and worked out.
Yeah. No, I mean, so that's a very it's a win over Ben in and of itself is like it's at this point in singles somewhat easy to be like, okay, fluke win, Ben was doing whatever, but to follow it up with JW and then Quang, there's definitely no fluke about that. That's for sure. So that's gotta feel nice for the potential haters. Just shout them up before they even start.
But I actually came into the whole tournament like trying to, because I just made a semis, and there had been some stuff about, oh, Michael had an easy run, like there wasn't a lot of people in front of him. And for me, I beat 4 players that I had never beaten before in singles. So I felt like I'd done well, and I had kind of heard people talking about like, yeah, he made the semis, but he didn't really have anybody there. And then he lost to Quang and kind of got squashed. And so there was extra motivation before I even got there. And then to hear the stuff after I beat Ben as well was like, okay, I really just want to go out and show people like what I'm about. And I believe it, and I don't need other people to believe it, but it does feel good when you get to make sure that they
shut the haters up a little bit.
Exactly.
I love it. Is there something that you're doing differently? Obviously, you have your semifinal run in Vegas, and then followed by a finals run before losing to Federico. Like, is there something different?
I would say first off, it's definitely the culmination of a lot of work, like just adding up. I think my move to Austin, like training with a bunch of different guys, like getting different looks, playing with, you and Deckel and all these good players out here, like has helped my confidence, even in singles, just knowing what I'm capable of. I think also just I've lost like 12 pounds since last year, started working with a PT, like a personal trainer, and being a lot more strict on my diet. So those are all like things that, I didn't change those like 2 weeks ago or anything. I've changed that since the beginning of the year, and it's starting to pay off. But in terms of like things that have recently changed that I think somebody could just go ahead and do today, I think first and foremost would be that like mentality shift that I talked about, like having fun. I was telling Craig Johnson, because I revealed it to him.
He's a goat.
Craig Johnson, best guy on the planet. If you don't like Craig, we don't like you.
Stop watching if you don't like Craig.
Fair. So anyways, I told Craig the other day, like there was a couple months ago where I just was not having that much fun. Like I said, I was trying to like be super level. And then there was a couple of people that I noticed in pickleball, and I was like, man, like these guys are having fun. Like Craig is one of them. He's super light. People love to be around him. Patrick Kafka is another. And actually, you're one of the guys that I also mentioned. I was talking to my girlfriend, Jules, and
sometimes
I was like, you're pretty much always having fun, like 98% of the time. At least like
generally.
When we're practicing, when I've seen you in matches, even when it's gone poorly, you're the guy that like challenges something that's 10 feet out just to like have some sort of comical relief or whatever. And I like watch these guys, you included, and I was like, I feel like I'm missing out on that, trying to be something that I'm not, and I'm not fully enjoying the experience on like a day-to-day. There's days where like I would win and it would be like a relief instead of like, oh, this is sick. And so I think that mind shift really helped me kind of get to where I am right now. Just made it more fun, like how lucky are we to be doing all the stuff that we're doing right now. You and I got to go do something at the F1 track the other day with events like that. Sick. Like there's a million things that we get to do on and off the court where it's like, how do you not have fun? How do you not enjoy this? How do you not see the bigger picture? And I fell victim to it for a little while, getting trapped up in like results and partnerships and, sponsorships or whatever, and all the things that I wasn't getting. And I was like, man, like there's so many people in pickleball right now, scratch pickleball. There's so many people in general that would love to be where I'm at. And I think once I kind of fully got sight of that and just let myself enjoy it, it's translated to on-court success. And it's not to say, like you said, like it's not like you're always having fun. Like there are, of course, times when you lose and it sucks and it stinks. I mean, even my finals loss, like that sucked. Like, you know what I mean? Like I got all the way there and I lost. And I think I have a good perspective on it. You know what I mean? I was able to bounce back really quickly. I was able to enjoy the loss in the moment, understanding that, I'm there and have a good perspective on it. But even still, like it's not fun losing or whatever.
For sure. Yeah, it never is.
But yeah, I don't know. I think all of that's kind of made it easier to just have success, you know?
For sure. Just basically being your authentic self. I remember when I was like 15 years old, I was like, Roger Federer is the best tennis player. I need to be like chill all the time, like Roger Federer. And I definitely like sent my tennis game into a downward spiral for probably 2 years, just trying to be like, you know, calm all the time.
Yeah.
I like made myself fall asleep when I was playing tennis. Like I just wasn't fiery. And then I was like, all right, screw it. Like I'm just going to do whatever the hell I want to do.
Yeah.
And got a lot better that way. And
Yeah.
and I think just people being themselves, even on the court, like it is super, super valuable to not be pretending or not have to pretend like everything is fine all the time. If like you're pissed, like yell, you're pissed. Like it is what it is. And then recover from that.
Yeah.
Or if you're excited, like let you be excited.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure you got some hate for the celebrations. Be like, oh, act like you've been there before, whatever.
Yeah.
But dude, you're having fun. Like pickleball should be fun. You're making awesome upsets. You're having a great run. Like why not enjoy it? It's super easy to get caught in like the little day-to-day stuff. And I've fallen victim to that too. Like just being involved in the day-to-day and not like zooming back out and realizing like I play and talk about pickleball for a living. I get to do all types of cool stuff and meet super cool people. Like, all right, I didn't play great today. Whatever. Like I've got a great life.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. I mean, I don't know. You hit the nail on the head. Like you just get to zoom out and see what's happening.
For sure. So, well, sweet. Talk about some of the other. You want to talk about some of the other stuff that happened this past week?
Yeah.
Riley Newman, is he back?
He's back.
Back?
Yeah. I think it's crazy because I practiced with Riley back when I was in Arizona, and he's like one of the guys that I feel like he just gets in like all the time. He just gets into the kitchen, and there's a lot of people that have probably written him off because of, you know, lack of power, the grip, or whatever else. And I think that has definitely made him have to adjust in certain ways. But like, he's back. Like he looks great. He's got the chip back on his shoulder, all that stuff, and I think it's good. He's just like a guy that's fun to watch in pickleball. He chirps, he gets rowdy. I don't know. He's here for it, and
dude, he's got some haters.
Oh, absolutely.
But I think he's like one of the most. I guess he's probably the closest to like a Kyrgios that we have, and he's not really that close. But people, every single person has an opinion who watches pickleball has an opinion on Riley. They either love him or they hate him.
Yeah.
And I think it's more love than hate. But he definitely has haters in the comment sections of whatever. But like he is a very, very good entertainer, and it's good to have him back towards the top of the game.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of people like you said, he is an entertainer, and it's funny, as an entertainer, I think you'll never please everybody, right? There's always going to be people that are like you said with like my celebrations or whatever, oh, that's cringe, or what, and that's what people say about Riley, and I think it's good. It's good to be somewhere in that spot where he's not controversial for any like terrible acts or anything like that. You know, he's a good guy, calls good lines. He's always, you know, good on the court with that stuff. But you know what I mean? He's controversial in other ways that I think are totally fine.
Yeah. Shout out to Donis Planter. But I think that Big H is actually like a pretty good compliment to him. I think the thing that had been missing or had been exposed for a while for Riley is the fact that he doesn't like to speed up forehands off the bounce. Like the forehand is a target for anybody. And so when he's been playing the left and playing with guys like Hayden and Christian, he's been having really good success because those guys love, or Gabe Tardio. If Riley and Gabe played together, that'd be
Didn't they get one?
sick.
They played Sacramento.
Did they?
They played Sacramento. They're the ones that beat James and Ben, I believe.
Okay.
I think. I'm like
Yeah, you might be
95%
right.
sure. But yeah, all those guys, not even just at the kitchen line. I also think it's the third. Like I said, Riley gets in no matter what. But the third with his forehand is a little bit floatier, right? Mm-hmm. So now if you have somebody like H who steps in confidently in the middle, even though he's playing the right, and he can either run around to get to his forehand, or he steps in with the two and rolls it right in the kitchen, lets Riley just dart on up there, put pressure. Yeah, I think all those guys that you mentioned, those three, just cover up some of the things that, you know, Riley needs to to be successful at the very, very top. Obviously, Riley's always going to be a guy that makes runs, but like to be winning, I think those are guys that complement his game incredibly well.
For sure. I think that's, that in conjunction with you got the new paddle, and it's definitely a lot poppier and comparable to some of the most poppy paddles on the market at this point, which is, if you're not playing with one of those at this point, it's very, very difficult to compete, especially for somebody like Riley, his main attribute is obviously super, super consistent, great defense, but the guy has just like crazy hands. Yeah. And so now having a paddle that like can compete with some of the poppiest ones, like I think that's super helpful for him too. I wonder if they're gonna play more together. I'll be super interested to see what 2025 partnerships end up looking like.
Yeah, I think Hayden's probably, at least for me, he's the guy that I'm most interested in right now because he's the most adaptable. He can play both sides incredibly well. He can play different styles of pickleball very well. He can play a bigger right, a more complementary right. And I thought you saw him and Riley kind of ebb and flow with that role, right? Like obviously he's never going to be a crazy like beta right or anything like that. But there was some times where, Riley got bigger, played more court, and Hayden was perfectly fine stepping to the side. Big backhand counters, whatever he needed to do. But I don't know. He's, at least to me, the guy that I think everybody wants a piece of right now.
Mm-hmm. Hayden's so hot right now.
He's loving this right now. Big H, baby.
Big H. So another notable upset we had was Quang and CJ upset the Johns brothers 1-6. Did you watch any of that match?
I watched a little bit of the highlights afterwards. I only got to see the second game live, so I didn't see the first. But yeah, I mean, if there's anybody that, represents new age pickleball, it's Quang Duong, right? Like the guy is just ripping balls any part of the court. No ball is a bad ball to attack if you're him. He's doing crazy stuff, taking, fifths 2 feet from the baseline and driving them 100 miles an hour cross court at the guy's chest. And it's fun to watch, at least for me. I don't know. I played a tournament with him. We had a good win in our first round over Martin and Danny, and then we played Dylan and J-Dub really close. And it was our first time playing together, and it was just insane to watch some of the stuff that he's doing. Yes, off the third and the serve, we all know that, but like in transition, to me, is where he's most fascinating because he just attacks everything. And then CJ, I was talking to his dad last night, actually. I just think he's, for me, probably the most underrated in all of pickleball right now.
For sure.
He's nuts. He can take almost every ball out of the air at the kitchen line. He makes really, really good decisions when he's in those kitchen patterns. And I feel like he goes on runs sometimes where he just doesn't miss for like 15 minutes in a row or something. I watched his, so I was watching Augie. Augie and I are good friends. They were playing Was that
the one against him and Jack?
Yeah.
At the end of that match? The one that went like 34, 32 or something
J-Dub
like that?
and Augie absolutely played great. Don't get me wrong. But like CJ was the best player on that court.
CJ didn't. I think I tuned into that at like most of the way through regulation. I feel like I forgot exactly what the score was, but
I think it was like 36-34.
Well, so 36-34, but I tuned in like, when they were at around 18 or something, right? Like before 25, I tuned in. I don't think CJ made an unforced error or hardly even an error in the entire time that I was watching. That seems right, all of those rallies.
I made a comment where I was like, I don't think CJ has missed a single ball for 15 minutes. It doesn't matter like anything he touched went in. Counter, speed up, whatever he was doing was working. And I mean, Augie and J-Dub, like I said, played really, really well to win that because it wasn't like CJ just hit like a ball or two and then they went to Jack for 10 balls in a row. Like they were moving the ball around. CJ had to hit 1 million balls to stay in those rallies.
It was probably a good 70% to Jack though. At least 2/3, I would guess.
But those rallies,
they're targeting Jack.
They were for sure targeting him, but those rallies were 50, 60 ball rallies,
Yeah, for sure.
He still ended up hitting
rallies.
1 million shots in that time span. So yeah, he's crazy underrated. Still at like you said, 1-6.
That's wild.
That doesn't happen. They played.
I mean, I think Ben and Colin were very flat in game one.
Yeah.
They looked candidly, they looked awful in game one, and but CJ and Quang also played very, very well and very aggressive pickleball. And Ben and Colin stepped it up a little bit, but in game two to 11-6. But yeah, man, they're just playing some serious modern pickleball.
Yeah.
And I think CJ is super underrated. It'll be interesting to see what that New York Hustlers team does, right? Imagine, I mean, Jackie Kawamoto's playing very, very well.
Yeah.
I think Leah Jansen has really improved her doubles game this year. I've been very impressed with the way that she's been playing the right side.
Yeah.
She's like not missing from the right side anymore.
She's like cup dinking, like similar to a lot of guys are on the right. And like you said, very, very consistent with that motion. Yeah, I don't know. You can only pick 3, right?
Yeah. And then, obviously they had Jack who was the majority of their budget.
Yeah.
Right. So if Jack had panned out as a 6th overall pick, and the people that are around, I mean, he was picked before J-Dub. He was picked before, I believe, Christian.
He was. I think he was the pick before.
Yeah, like it's kind of scary to think of what the Hustlers could have been if Jack continued to grow the way that I'm assuming they expected him to, or if instead of Jack they had you mentioned like Christian and CJ or whomever. Like CJ is so impressive because he's one of those guys that he played a little bit of tennis, but he's one of those young players that just on this like slow, gradual, never-ending increase, right? Like Hayden or Wyatt to a much lesser extent. Wyatt, we played with Wyatt this morning, so we like to talk crap about Wyatt. Gabe is a perfect example.
Yeah.
I wrote an article in like 2021 of players to watch out for in 2021. Gabe was on the list.
Was that when he made his first MLP team?
2022, I think he made his first MLP team.
Okay, yeah. I watched that first event. That was, I think he subbed for Rob Nunnery or something. I can't remember the team that it was. It was like with Eric Lang and Simone and Lena, but I can't remember what team that was at the time.
I think that was the Shock then. Eric Lang, Simone. Actually, I don't know.
I can't remember, but actually that might have.
I don't know if Simone was on
the 5s. That might have been the 5s.
Was Simone on the 5s?
I think. I'm not for sure, but
yeah, I don't know.
Anyways, that was the first time I saw him play, and I was like, this kid's crazy wristy, goes for anything, doesn't care, and I think that was back. Still 2022. I feel like you were playing like conservative, like wait for your partner to set you up for something, higher if you're playing on the right, and that was sort of the first taste of like, okay, there are no rules in pickleball, and yeah, obviously now he's like just electric, like can do anything with the ball he wants to.
He's my favorite men's pro player to watch.
Yeah,
I think you just never really know what's coming out of Gabe.
He's my well, I would say he's my favorite to watch in mixed because he is
so chaotic.
Anything, he can do absolutely anything. Yeah, I don't know. He's just crazy. There was that one highlight that he had in Vegas where he hit like some stupid like no look roll fading away, then ran over Bert into a 360 landing, and then like is like getting hyped up by his bench, and he's just like acting like nothing happened. I was like, what is this guy on? He's crazy. I've got a running joke with him where I'm like, I can't remember where it happened, but somebody was like, oh, who you're playing with? To him, they were asking like, who you're playing with this tournament, and I was like, oh, Gabe's gonna play with me in 2028. Who cares about the next one? And then so he always like jokes with me like 2028 partner. 2028.
Bro, lock him up.
Lock
him up for 28.
Gabe Tardio and I 2028. You heard it.
Tardio Loyd 2028. I'd vote for you guys.
What a campaign we'd run.
So we played each other, and I'm not here to talk about the actual match. I'm here to talk about what Travis apparently said. I'm like, hey, look, I play against Wyatt, I play against Michael a lot. Like, these guys are good. And Travis on his pod says, on my deathbed, I can win that one.
Wow. I mean,
thoughts? Was he right?
No. He's right because that's for another time. Wyatt and I need to figure out our game, I guess. Wyatt and I did not gel the way we were expecting to. Wait for us next time, Travis. We'll get you.
To be fair, you guys played like you were on your deathbeds.
Travis did too.
Travis did too. I was playing the match. I let everybody know afterwards.
I played awful. Wyatt played awful. Zane, I thought you played 6-5 ball.
6.5 ball? I'll take that.
I think it was 6-5 ball.
Well, we're going to play Guess My DUPR after this, so this will be good.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely the player of the match in that one. But we had a pretty controversial match, 2 matches after that. We ended up beating Andre and Gabe the next day, but then we played Fed and Matt Wright in the quarters. I don't know how much you saw of this, but in game 3, 9-9, we play a point, Travis lobs, Fed hits an overhead winner. And I say, we're going to challenge that he pushed off. And the referee comes back. The referee says there was a fault on the play. The player pushed off. And we're like, sweet, our ball. And then Matt and Fed like throw a bit of a fit, and they're like, no, there's no way. They're like looking at the video in the crowd, like people are showing them the video, and they're like, no, there's no way, whatever. I never saw the video until the next day. But they're like, we have to get the head referee out here.
Yeah.
And so they get Alan out there. Alan comes back and says there was no fault on the play, which is wild. So we got that reversed. And then we're like, all right, well, if you're challenging the challenge, then we're going to challenge the challenge of the challenge to Connor Pardo. So we end up with Pardo out there. 25 minutes go by, give or take a few minutes, and we ended up losing the next point. Have you ever seen anything like this?
No. I mean, I've seen a bunch of like, okay, go get the head ref and we'll challenge, and I've seen that overrule happen, but this is where I think like pickleball needs to figure something out here, because there should be a hard rule of like where it stops, because it seems right now that
our next step is actually the Southeast District federal court system. after Pardo. We're waiting to hear back.
But like I've seen it happen so many times where, you know, somebody's unhappy with the call or the decision that the ref makes, and I've never seen anybody denied where they're just like, no, I want the head ref. You know what I mean? Like anybody and everybody can just have somebody else. You're at least going to get another opinion.
Right.
And I think the issue, more than the overrule that you guys had, is like, okay, well, what constitutes the head ref showing up? Because that shouldn't happen all the time. I've been in a match where that happened, and then we took 20 minutes to make a decision, just like yours did, where, you know, I would like to believe that most of the time people are actually just dissatisfied with the call, but I've seen it happen where I know for a fact that my opponent was just like, we need to slow some sort of momentum down.
Right.
I'm going to, you know, do some, it's gamemanship, right? Where you're like, I'm just going to challenge this above the ref that I have in front of me, and that I'm unhappy with that. And at least if nothing else happens, I've taken 20 minutes to slow my opponents down.
Yeah. Well, as I've understood it, and as I've understood it in basically every other sport, to my knowledge, there are certain times in tennis where this might happen. There are times in pickleball where this would happen. But as I understood it, the head referee comes down to be the final say on rules disputes,
right? Not
judgment disputes.
Exactly. That's
I've
what I'm
never
saying.
once if there was an incorrect rule application on the court, that's where or there's fighting between the player and the referee, whatever. That's when I see the head ref come through.
Right.
I've never seen it to overturn an actual call on the court, a judgment call.
Yeah.
Right. Like, that's kind of wild to me. Now, there's a very solid argument to be made looking at it afterwards that there wasn't a foot fault. When I look at that video, I don't think you can tell whether there was or there wasn't a foot fault. And hopefully we can get this up there. But to overturn a judgment from the head referee, to overturn a judgment, I think is wild.
Yeah, I know. I totally agree with it. I think that's like an issue. Like, I think, like you said, it should be a rule thing and nothing else.
Well, and my argument to that as well, and I feel like we were fighting at a bit of an unfair disadvantage with Matt and Fed having seen the video and us not having seen the video.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know how we're supposed to argue when they're able to say, like, no, I dragged. This is where I dragged. I would have loved to be able to be like, no, he didn't drag, whatever.
And I think that's also the next evolution in like challenges and stuff like that. Like, I haven't talked to a single fan that doesn't want to see the call live. And obviously, if the fans can see, you're going to be able to see it as well. Because you all should have the exact same chance to do it. And there's a new technology rule or whatever where we're not supposed to be on our phones or whatever. So I don't know how that would extend to like if Fed's girlfriend or whoever else showed, like, obviously.
Well, they got a technical warning for that afterwards.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. Like, you shouldn't have that to be able to see that or whatever.
But I think the problem is, right, if we're applying this to matter of judgments, we even have so this match didn't have close call replay. That's part of the problem, right? Yeah. But even when there's close call replay, there are shots where the ball is like hovering over the line, and you and me, we can't even tell, even though the ball is precisely on the ground, we can't tell whether it's in or out.
Yeah.
Right? It's a 50-50 ball. Right? You and I might think there's something different. But if we're allowed to appeal judgments, all right, so you call like the ball out, I think it's in, I challenge. The head referee says, no, it was out. Okay, well, let me challenge it again. And then when you have judgment calls, you're basically like giving yourself an additional opportunity for this to go in your favor.
Yeah.
Which is kind of wild to me.
Yeah,
like
that's also, it's a weird like psychological thing, right? If you feel extra pressure if it's going up further in the ranks or whatever, if you're the ref to like, I don't know, like they push it even further, like I don't think that's fair. It, like you said, it should be the first thing, first judgment, and okay, we ride with it.
Yeah, I don't know. It's interesting. I think to Connor's credit, he came out and he said like, look, this time around, we've got to stick with the head referee's ruling, but we got to figure this out. Like, this can't happen again. And he said that like 3 different times to all the different refs and us. He's like, this isn't happening again.
Yeah. Kudos to him. I feel like that's still the thing. I feel like there's a lot of people in pickleball that have been around it for so long now that they feel like it's established. And it is in a million ways. But I mean, kudos to him for being like, okay, this is a scenario that we're going to learn from and then just go from there. Because I still think we're going to have that in so many different scenarios that we haven't even thought of yet that are going to come up. And it's just going to be like, all right, well, this is the time and the place that the rule is being created because of this scenario.
Those are kind of the fun ones. I like those.
Yeah. I mean, we'll look back on it and be like, oh, it's the Zane and Travis rule.
Yeah, there we go. So yeah, I mean, I thought it was a good match overall. It kind of sucks that right at the end of it happened, but oh well. I thought it was. I'll be curious to hear what Travis has to say on the podcast.
Yeah.
He's probably more pissed off than I am.
Probably. I feel like he's the guy that gets pissed out of principle, like over anything. You know what I mean? And not to judge him for it, but the Tesla thing or whatever that happened to him. Do you remember that?
Oh yeah, I do.
He was so pissed about that for so long, and like rightfully so. I thought that was kind of whatever, but he'll be carrying it around for a while.
Yeah, well, I mean, like he said, look, I've played tennis for 20 years. I played pickleball for 4 years. I've never seen this happen before. I'm sure he's right.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Speaking of Travis, you said something funny today that when we were playing this morning.
Oh yeah.
Somebody told you tell the story.
So basically, there's a couple of people that told me this. My girlfriend told me this. My grandma told me this. So it's our match in doubles, right? And after the match, I'm pretty pissed. Like the level was bad. We didn't play well. And it was my girlfriend who said it first, and it made me laugh. And she was like, Wyatt Stone looks like a younger version, like a 14-year-old version of you, Michael. And then Travis looks like a 40-year-old version of you. I was like, that's fair. And, to Travis's credit, if I look like him at 40, I'll be pretty happy. Guy's in good shape, good hair.
You guys got kind of the similar hair, you like the facial hair, and same facial structure to a certain extent.
Yeah. I would take that. Travis is a good-looking guy.
Wait, what's your ethnicity? What's your background?
I'm like super white.
Super white. Okay.
No, yeah. My Loyd is Welsh, so it's like an island in England, and I've got like a crazy small percentage of like Cherokee in me.
Okay,
that's it.
Gotcha. All right. Well, I have no idea. I had no idea. Which Thomas is just texting me. He says, "Didn't have you pegged as a racist." Thank you, Tom.
Nice.
I'm not that racist.
I'll keep it PG on the show for him.
I was just curious. Sorry, everybody. It's my own curiosity. I'm half Indian, if anybody cares. So I feel like I'm allowed to ask those questions.
All right. Yeah, you probably get leeway.
All right. So women's singles. Kate Fahey, a clear number 2. She beat Paris Todd, Leah Jansen, and Salome before losing to AL.
I think that's fair. I've been buying Kate's stock for a while now. I just think, man, she just super clean ball striker, one of the best movers. You'd probably say besides Annalie, because I feel like she just figures out a way to win no matter what. But I feel like the same thing is true with Kate. Like she'll be down, 5-9 in the third, and it still feels like 50-50. You know, she just climbs herself out of a million holes.
She just makes a ton of balls.
Yeah, I'd feel like for that, the consistency and the mentality alone, I think you kind of gotta slide her in that 2 spot. Somebody else I'm really high on, love watching, is like Brooke Buckner. I think she's probably the cleanest, like just ball striker on the women's side. Maybe, I mean, she strikes that thing clean. So yeah, she'd be in my top 3 as well.
Yeah, because I mean, number 3, you're probably looking at Catherine, who hasn't had phenomenal singles results.
Yeah,
Brooke would have probably been the number 2 pick prior to that.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, who else are we looking at for that number 2 spot? It's like Annalie and then everybody else.
Yeah, I think it's fair to say Annalie's on her own island still. And men's, I feel like we've definitely closed the gap, and, like you said, anybody can win. It's, to me, the most exciting event to watch. But yeah, with women's singles, there's still a lot of upsets. But Annalie, I think, has she lost since she lost to Tyra?
I have no idea.
I don't think she has. That's the last loss that I remember, at least in singles. So
Damn.
That doesn't happen. That was like Orange County. That had to be in like August of 2023. That's a long time.
Wild.
Dude.
We'll have to check that one.
Check that. I think I'm right on that, but
I have no. Your guess is much better than mine. But
I think that's the last loss that I remember.
She did take a loss in women's doubles in straights. Rachel and Anna beat Annalie and Catherine 4-8 and 6, which is absolutely wild to me to lose to do it in 3 games. Honestly, for them to win is still somewhat wild to me.
Yeah,
but 3 straight games is crazy, and so this is actually their third win over Annalie and Catherine. So is this starting to be a rivalry at the top of women's doubles?
Yeah, I think this is kind of like comparable to when Riley and Matt started to kind of build momentum. I think it's in that similar space where it's like, okay, like Annalie and Catherine are starting to look more susceptible. I'm wondering if you'll hear like back when that was happening with Ben and Colin, like everybody was like, dump Colin, figure it out. I wonder if that'll happen with AL, because I think very clearly like AB has established herself as the 2, and I mean Rohrabacher has. I don't feel like people are talking about how quickly she's gotten good.
Right.
Like, you know what I mean? Like it
was really kind of around this time last year, September of last year, with the squeeze that she really started to emerge.
Yeah.
Like she was a completely unknown pick for us in July of 2023 when we picked her with the squeeze.
Yeah.
And then by September we won that first MLP, and then she's like a top 5 mainstay player.
Yeah. I feel like people have taken that for granted though. Like a lot of people have, I don't know, at least like I've seen a lot of harsh judgment with like her mixed game and like people being like, hey, she should be better or whatever. And I'm like, dude, the girl is unreal for how long she's really been in the limelight. And to me, still getting much, much better. It seems like she's still adding weapons. It seems like she's a lot more comfortable on the left than she was like even 3 months ago. I think that's been a big part in AB and her being successful, is the variety and their ability to play both sides. And there's not a drop off anymore when Rachel's on the left, at least to me.
Yeah. Is Rachel's scream annoying?
I actually like, that's the one that everybody always mentions. And I guess I haven't been there enough because like, I don't know. I just think she's a girl getting crazy hype.
Yeah, dude. I have zero problem with it whatsoever. There's so many people that
are like, oh my gosh, the Mighty Mouse or whatever. Like,
is that what they say?
Like they used to say that about Elise, and now they're saying
it is very high pitched
about Rachel. I feel like it's almost so high pitched that it doesn't bother me. You know what I mean? It's like
you just don't hear that frequency, bro.
Maybe not, but I don't know.
All of the dogs within a mile of that a mile of Dallas are like
just dying,
going crazy in their birds. No, dude, look, I would think we got to celebrate the people that are like acting like they want to be there.
Yeah,
right?
no,
Like it's so much better than somebody who maybe it's your style where you're just quiet after you win a point and you're internal. Somebody comes to mind is like Ed or Wright. Like you never really see her get too high, too low, right? But like celebrate people being themselves. Like I'm sure there's a good portion of people that love Rachel for that. And in fact, they do.
Yeah.
And there's gonna be people that hate it.
Yeah.
Like
I don't know. There's a lot of people that like have said that about different people. They're like, oh, they're too loud, they're too this, whatever. I mean, Leia's another girl that like gets really loud. She screams. And people have said like, oh, that'd be so annoying. And I'm like, I bet you wouldn't be that annoyed if she was on your side of the court though. Like I'd love to play with Leia, or Rachel, or Kate, or any of these like really loud players.
Didn't Kate, she just had a quote, I think, and it's that I saw like girls can scream too or something like that.
Perfect.
Like,
yeah, get hyped.
I'm probably butchering that, but I thought I saw something about that. But yeah, Rachel, not annoying. Definitively answered here on the podcast.
We figured it out.
So the natural question is like, you know, when Colin and Ben started losing to Matt and Riley, like, is Ben going to drop Colin? Like, whenever these number one teams start to lose with some frequency, the question is, are they going to drop somebody, right? Yeah. If Annalee drops Catherine, which I don't think there's any, at least from my knowledge, I have no idea if there's any talk. I don't know. It
doesn't seem that way.
Particularly because I think the next two ladies after that are Anna and Rachel. Like, I think with the run that they've had, I doubt that they're breaking up, and they seem to love each other.
Yeah.
All right, let's take a different question. Let's say Catherine retires from pickleball for whatever, which isn't going to happen. Catherine is just out of the picture. Who does Annalee take as her partner?
Gosh, I mean, I feel like it would be more important for Annalee, like personality-wise, than the actual game style, because she's to her credit, I don't think people talk about this enough, she's a chameleon, plays both sides at the highest clip. Like, she's the best right side player in the world, she's the best left side player in the world. I don't know. I mean, her and Mari would be really fun to watch. Like, would that be a really competitive team? I think so. Like, Mari's really hard to figure out. It limits them a little bit, right? Like, Mari obviously can play the right, but you're not the same team when she's on the right and Annalee's on the left. That'd be a fun one.
Yeah, in MLP, they never have to, like, unwind a stack,
for sure.
right? So
I don't know. Somebody that I still think is slept on, maybe because she hasn't had all the biggest results in women's this year, but Jorja is nuts. That'd be another really, really fun one. I think that brings back the versatility. They can both play both sides. In my opinion, I think Jorja has the fastest hand in women's. I think everybody knows Annalee has the heaviest hands. But if you pair those two together, like, that's just so much offense. And I mean, Jorja's tricky too. She can dink in a lot of weird ways and move the ball around. She's good with the ball in front of her. She's good, moving around to the cross. And I don't know, be really, really fun. And she matches Annalee's energy really, really well.
Yeah. So for everybody who's like saying like maybe Annalee will drop Catherine, whatever, like who, for who or for whom, right?
Yeah. I still think it doesn't make sense.
It does.
Catherine is unreal. Like, that needs to be said first and foremost. Like, she's unreal. There's a million things that they can go do to change before they need to think about splitting.
Yeah, they probably just got to work on a little bit of strategy stuff. Like watch some film. They probably never really needed to do that before. They're just better than everybody. The only other person I think could possibly be in that conversation would be Etta, but she's got her, every now and then she has her health problems and whatnot, which I think she's still working on figuring out. Yeah. I think she's made some progress on that, but at the same time, recently in Vegas, she had to withdraw. Yeah. So I don't know. I think we're going to see that rivalry continue to build, which is good. I think that's a fun rivalry.
Yeah, me too. It's one of the funnest finals to watch every single time,
All right. Let's see. What else do we have here? How did you like your time on the Pandas? We talked about that a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, that was great. Gosh, MLP, I've been saying it since I first got into pro pickleball. That was the number one thing that I wanted to get to do. Playing a team environment. I started tennis kind of later. for me, I started like playing when I was 14. So the first introduction for me was really high school tennis. And that was super, super fun. I loved that. And I started playing late enough to where, you know, realistically, I wasn't going to go pro. So college was, you know, the next step in what I wanted to do. And that was just so, so fun. So as soon as I got into pickleball, I was like, okay, MLP is where I want to be. And then lucky enough for me, I fell into a really good situation with Stefan. Obviously him being out here in Austin as well. We're really familiar with each other's games. And then Tammy Emmerich, like I played with Martin before. I'm close with the Emmeriches, and getting to play with her, that was just awesome. And then I have like Eva, like the best girl and all best player and all of Challenger, on your team. It was super, super fun. And, I think, you know, when I got on, it was very like, you know, we've basically got to play unreal to get to the playoffs. So there was a little bit of pressure in that sense.
That's got to be freeing a little bit.
Yeah,
too.
That's what I was gonna say. Is like there's some pressure, but up the other side of it is like just swing. Like,
it's all upside,
yeah,
right?
we
Like
can
you're
only
not
go
supposed
up.
to be in the playoffs,
Right, and
but if we tree, like we can do it.
Which we did. We absolutely treed, especially in Miami. We got
In Miami, what's the opposite of treeing? Tanked? They didn't tank intentionally, but they opened the door for you
Miami,
guys
for sure. So we went in. I think John was the one that was like, okay, like if we could get like 10 points in 4 matches, like that's what would really give us a good shot. And then one of our guys, Caleb, who's like one of the guys on the team, like in the ownership group, and kind of just basically a jack of all trades for us or whatever. But he had talked to Real Clear Stats, and they had given us like a 10% chance to make it. And we had some of our, like, I wouldn't say easy, but easier matches in the beginning, right? And we played Florida. Shout out Travis on his deathbed. Beat them 3-1.
Travis, you got fucked, dude.
Beat them 3-1 and got 3 points out of that. And then we went and played the Brooklyn Aces, who had just gotten Koopy, and beat them 3-1 as well to get another 3 points. So after the first day, we'd gotten 6 of the presumably 10 that we needed, and we had 2 matches left, and we were like, oh shoot, like we can actually do this. Lost to Atlanta in a dream breaker, and then by the time we had gotten there, Brooklyn had lost out. They had done poor enough to where like they were just out of the playoff pictures, and it was between us and who was it? The Breakers, and the Breakers weren't even there.
Breakers weren't there, yeah.
So
you controlled your own destiny at that point.
Exactly. So we had the last match going into it. All we had to do was win the match, whether it was in a dream breaker or in regulation. And if we won the match, we would have tied the Breakers, and we had the tiebreaker in terms of the games or the matches won percentage or whatever. And we showed up and just played crazy ball. Stefan and I went on a little beach date the night before. Got our men's doubles figured out. Came, and I think we won like 25-23 or 24-26, something like super close like that. Steffi on the last point, John looks over at us and is like, whoever gets the third, rip it as hard as you can, and the other guy just flies forward. So Steffi gets the third, rips a clean drive. I flew forward. They did a great job on the volley, keeping it away from me. And I look back, like it's one of those where like you have time to turn all the way around, and Steffi's on his back foot in the middle of the court, hitting a forehand as hard as he can, like perfectly down the line, lands smack dab on the line against Eric, and you see Eric Onson's face just go like, this, what the heck has just happened? And then after that, they like, John was like, Michael, like go out, play as free as you want. And I was playing like a man possessed, just hitting everything as hard as I could, speeding up the dumbest stuff. Everything was going in.
Hey, it's
for
only
me.
dumb if it doesn't work.
Exactly. Super smart by me, I mean. But everything was going well. Tammy was backing me up. We won that 3-0. We were so excited. We like celebrated and started shaking hands with Miami, even though we had another match to play because you have to finish out the regulation match for all the tiebreakers or whatever. And then got to the playoffs. It was crazy fun. I think MLP as a spectator, as a player, is the funnest thing in all of pickleball, and really, really grateful that I got to experience it at the end. And hopefully with like the last month or two that I've had, I can get on another team in 2025 and run it back.
How would you say you're one of the few people who's played in both? I think in both the Arizona Pickleball League as well as Major League Pickleball. I think there was Augie had done that as well.
Pesa Pessa has
Pessa.
played both. Krista has played both.
Okay.
And then Andrew Walker.
Okay.
And I think that's all of us.
What do you like from Arizona Pickleball League or is there anything that you took from there, or is there anything that you like that you feel like MLP could implement? Like,
gosh, I don't know how MLP would do it, but like the production value of what they do is just insane over there at the Orchard. They do such a good job. And I feel like the Orchard is more than just the pickleball. Like, it's an experience. You come in, there's a crazy like sparks flying, there's intros, they have all of this stuff going on. And if MLP was able to replicate some of that, like, that would be incredible, because we all had like walk-in intros, so that if you were there at the Orchard for the very first time and you had no idea what pickleball was and you had no idea who these players were, they had an intro with the security guard like explaining the format. They had intros for all the players with like a really brief background on all of us and how we got started. So I think if MLP was able to implement that, like, that's just great, because like I think, like I said, I think for everybody in pickleball, we think it's so established, but there's still tons of people that we need to bring in that have no idea what's going on. And just to have that quick explanation of everything that's happening before it even gets started and making it fun and professional, I think that'd be a great way to take from them.
interesting. Yeah. So some just more of the entertainment side of stuff.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think, I mean, MLP does a great job with, obviously, like, we've got all the best players in the world, and we have, you know, the fun like team ownerships, and there's all these different dynamics with the trades and everything else going on. And I think you're already seeing like us getting better at the storytelling aspect of it. They had Dave and Will do the playoff breakdown and things like that. But I think you're actually also like kind of like helping them out, filling a void with all the breakdown stuff that you've been doing between like PPA and MLP. If they do that themselves, like, sorry, they're going to steal your thunder or whatever, but like, that's just so
Somebody's
easy.
got to do it.
You did it in like 60 seconds, and like everybody knows everything that happened. They don't have to go read it. They don't have to watch a 5-minute long video. Like, it's all there in short form, easily digestible. They could benefit from that as well.
Sweet. All right. There we go. Well, hey, before we wrap up, we got to play Guess My Duper. Unless there's anything else you want to mention or shout out or whatever.
I guess just like over the last couple of like days, I just want to like say shout out to everybody that's kind of reached out to me and been crazy supportive. Thank you for, you know, bringing me on. It's cool because I feel like I've gotten a little bit of a platform now to meet people, talk about like my faith, my interests, all these different things. And obviously that doesn't happen unless people are a little bit interested. So thank you guys to everybody.
Love it, dude. All right. Well, where can people follow you before we play Guess My Duper?
Okay. Michael Loyd PB on Instagram, and Michael
With
Loyd
one L.
One L. So it'll be the L from my first name and the L from my last name.
Oh, that's trippy. That's why I thought it was 2 L's for a while.
I know. So Michael Loyd PB on Instagram, and then I'm starting a YouTube channel as well with the same Michael Loyd PB.
Oh, let's go. Are you going to film at the lab?
I will do some filming at the lab as well.
Nice, dude. That's exciting. Yeah, we got all the cameras set up there that just go to waste otherwise. So, sweet. Oh, one other thing I just noticed. You're up to number 14 in the singles rankings. That means you're in the San Clemente at the end of the year tournament.
No, they do 8 for singles.
Never mind.
Next year.
Next year. There we go. Okay. Well, foreshadowing. All right, Frank the Tank. Let's play Guess My Duper. Don't know how to do this. I've never had to actually do the production side of stuff. So
Here we go.
this will be a treat. Oh, okay. So we're pointing to that. This is good, Frank. Frank, you're on top of it.
Wow.
That's like when the teacher calls on you in class and you don't know and you weren't paying attention, but he was paying attention, dude. Okay, so we're looking at the lady there.
Oh, gosh.
Damn.
Dang. So first off, I think I know who that is by the socks. I think
Bethany Maddox Sands.
that'd be a great guess. I think that's Kaylin Campbell. I think that's the little sister of one of the most interesting pickleball players, Kaysen. Gosh, I'm gonna go 5-1-7.
Interesting. Yeah, that was smooth. She works the ball around. That two-hander was good. That Ernie was smooth. I'm gonna go. I'm pretty much the world's worst person at guess my duper.
Okay.
But I'm gonna go 5.45. 5.3. What'd you say? 5.2?
I said 5.17.
5.17.
Pretty close.
5.45. That's pretty.
And
good.
I was right. It was Kaylin.
Dang, she's 14.
Yeah, she's
gonna be a baller.
She's sick.
All right. That was honestly pretty good for my standards. I'm usually off by at least a full point.
That was pretty good for both.
And I'm claiming that I'm correct and Duper is wrong. All right. Next up. Augie good. No. Oh. Oh. Stop.
What is this?
I don't even know what I just watched. Same guy here. Okay, this is singles. This looks like that lefty dude from Arizona that used to play with Head. A little bit. Nico Montoya, right?
Montoya?
He moves around like him. Like Nico slides like that.
Yeah, that's the tough thing. Anytime anybody slides, I always automatically assume you're better. Like, it always happens.
How did this guy fight off those?
That's so funny that they went back to him like that.
Well, I mean, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I know, but like after he gets the first one, you got to be like, okay, I'll go to the other guy because he's gonna get tight. Oh gosh.
Good
I'm gonna say
singles. Very good mover in singles. That's filthy.
I'm gonna say 5-5, 5-5-5.
I feel like we got two nasty highlight points. This person's a good mover, probably a tennis player, I'm sure, but I feel like they maybe are cherry picking their clips.
Okay, that could be true too.
I'm gonna go a little lower. I'm gonna go 4.8. The points that we saw were like 6.5 level points.
That's why I went like, I thought, he's good, but let's see. 4.8. Wow, Clark,
that's
you let
Clark?
me down.
Oh, I didn't know that. Damn, I didn't know that was Clark, dude. 4.8. Dude, I'm getting good at this game.
This is BS. You knew who he was.
I had no idea. But doesn't he kind of look like Nico? He plays like Nico Montoya
The way
a
he
little
slides
bit.
around and stuff, yeah.
Dude, Clark, you're a legend, but that 4.8 is weak with 98% reliability.
Dang. Had me fooled.
Hold on. Now that I'm like doing better at this game, I'm starting to like it a little bit more. I kept telling Thomas, like, let's get rid of Guess My Duper. I suck at it. But now we're so back.
Okay.
All right, next
I gotta
up.
redeem myself on this next one. That's so far off.
That is a red shirt. Knee brace, -1. That looked like your pickup against Ben Johns on match point. We got the hand on the leg dink.
Red Guy would be so proud. And he did
He pulled the Tardio. Can we see that one more time?
Are you calling it the Tardio now? I thought it was the Kyle. I thought Kyle Yates invented it.
Kyle's off in Australia, bro.
Okay.
You got to be in the U.S. to have
a shot named after you.
This guy is like running around like Bambi. There's no way that shot should have worked.
No, yeah, it was to a bad spot too.
I'm actually gonna go 4.4 on this dude.
Okay,
Like,
we're in a similar spot. I said 4.23.
okay, I like that.
Whoa,
All right, that's wrong.
that's definitely wrong. That was 4.0 play. I thought.
That was at least 4.0.
Yeah.
Like, realistically, Connor, you're at least a 4.0. He's only 16. Look at that.
Well,
Um,
I mean, if he's playing in like, how does your duper end up like that? This is like the thing with duper when it's got to be messed up from somebody sandbagging, somebody doing something.
Somebody's done something sometime.
Yeah, because like that was 4-0 for sure, right?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think that their argument is always like, you just haven't played enough matches, which is probably true.
But his had like an 84 reliability or something. By that point, like it should be like his bad duper should be like 3.7 or something.
Yeah, that's fair. But like, you know, if you play, you could have 100%, I guess, reliability if you've had some bad results from a while ago, whatever. I just feel like the more you actually play, the more that rating actually is more accurate.
Fair enough.
And I feel like we have a bad sample of people who are upset about their duper. I feel like you submit clips to Guess My Duper because you're pissed off that your duper is too low for the most part.
Probably.
Which I feel like really skews our stuff. Like I feel like duper is super reliable actually. Like not super reliable, but very reliable for the pro game.
For the pro game, it's very, very reliable. I think amateurs, if you are playing like consistently and you're playing, the big caveat is if you're playing with the people that you're supposed to, then it ends up super accurate.
So, well, sweet. I'm very excited about my performance on Guess My Duper. I'm excited about your performance at the PPA.
There you go. I'll do better next time.
Big wins for both of us this week. And thank you for tuning into the Pickle Pod. We will see you next week. I think we are lining up Adam Stone for next week. We'll be talking about the Milwaukee Open. I'll try and stir up some more shit for next week.
There you go.
Thanks, Mike.
Thanks, man.
Yeah. I'm not gonna lie, daughter, had gonna yagi.